Welcome to Pivot Parenting, where we help parents of teens overcome regret and disappointment to find peace and connection in every situation. I'm Heather Frazier, your parenting expert. Journey with me to discover effective parenting tips, improve family relationships, and build a brighter future for your kids. Buckle up, things are about to get better. Hello, my podcast friend. How's it going? How's your day been so far? My day has been great. I took my son to the airport today to fly back to his college, and that was sad. And I've been up since like 5 this morning. But yesterday, as I had a quiet moment, I was pondering what I could speak to today that would be helpful for you. And you know how you have those mentally and spatially quiet moments? They're few, but they feel amazing. And as I was in this moment of flow, I could see a common point of contention that parents were tripping on that is really a sticking point for so many of us that needs addressing. And it's when we tell our kids what to do. And I get the lure of this. We don't want them to struggle. We do this because we're worried or concerned. Because it's easy, fast, and efficient if they would just listen and do what they're told. Because they need to know and we need to teach. Because they haven't learned. Because we want them to do it our way. Because our way is the best way. We've already learned. And their life will be better if they just learn from us rather than on their own. Because we know. And they don't need to test. They just need to listen. And I can see a very broad spectrum of teens responding to parents telling them what to do. And I can so easily see this. Not only do my clients have these kids, but I have these kids. I've got kids on both ends and some in the middle. On one side, you've got the kid that's like, yes, please tell me exactly what to do because I am so anxious and I don't want to mess up and I'm too scared to act on my own. So I would rather you continue to direct my life so that I don't fail or get hurt or feel scared. And then you have the other end of the spectrum, which is, well, I was thinking about doing that too, but now that you have told me, Mom or Dad, I will not, because I must be in control of my own life, and I will reject even your wisest advice simply because you told me. You aren't in charge of what I do. I want to be independent, and I will now do otherwise to assert my independence because that is more important than getting an A or getting enough sleep or breaking up or ending a bad relationship. You're too old. You don't get it. I don't want to be like you. I want to be my own person. And when you tell me what to do, I will not do it, simply on principle. Have you met either of these kinds of kids? Then you have kids that are kind of in the middle or a little bit of both, everything in between, right? And usually our kids are not just one extreme or the other, but they can kind of be a little bit of both depending on the situation. Now, it's really important to understand that we've got a few things at play in this situation, and I'm going to talk about 3 of them. First, you've got at least 2 people, you and them, at play. You might also have another parent, step-parent, their friends, siblings. Then, on top of whomever's involved, you have all of those people's desires, ideas, interests, what they want out of the interaction or the day, plus their nervous systems, when they feel safe versus when they feel threatened. Parents typically feel safety when kids obey, and threatened when kids don't obey what they are told. Oftentimes, our kids are the opposite. They feel safe when they have some sense of autonomy and control in their own life. And so they want to feel safe by pushing against us. Or They're embracing the weakest side of themselves, and they feel safest when they're being told what to do, and they're not growing and developing their own independence, which is harmful because then they grow up being a person that likes being told what to do. This sets them up for less successful careers, for potentially abusive partners, low self-esteem, and a lack of success that learning how to assert yourself, to strengthen yourself, to believe in yourself would minimize. That's the first thing at play. You've got the people, their wants, desires, and nervous systems rubbing up against each other. Number 2 is you have long-term and short-term goals, consequences, whether they're good or bad, forming and taking place. So, for example, if having the house cleaned exactly as you say or getting homework done on time with a good grade, their choice of hairstyle or clothing should align with your preferences, those are short-term goals. And what does this create in the big picture, in the long run? For your long-term goals, like having a quality relationship with your child, teaching them to be independent, helping mentor them by figuring out who they want to be, what's important to them, learning how to fail successfully. And what are you prioritizing? Short-term or long-term? Sometimes we can have a little bit of both, but we need to be really honest with ourselves. If we just want what we want in the moment because that would feel good, but now we have a kid who kind of resents us. And our actual long-term goal is to have a quality relationship with our child so that as an adult, they'll still want us in their life. Maybe confide in us, travel with us, come home for holidays. I don't know. Those things can be nice. And are you sabotaging that because they cleaned the toilet wrong for the 10th time? Does that make sense? The third thing that we need to look at is the relationship that you're fostering with the two of you and their internal relationship. Your actions and words and beliefs around your child in this situation shape both how they view themselves and how they view the relationship with you, and how you view your relationship and how you feel about yourself, actually. I promise you, your kids know when you are disappointed or disagree. They know when you're cheering on their ingenuity and strength. They feel when you're disapproving of them. They feel when you are proud of them. And they take it all in. One end of the spectrum that our kids could fall on might cower. They might yield what they want, abandon themselves to please you, to win your favor, because that is the most important thing to them. Even if it means giving up what they want or what's important to them or what they feel that they need. The other end of the spectrum might decide they don't want your approval because they'll never get it anyway. And so they push you away even harder. They dig their heels in just to spite you. Now, for these 3 things, there are some tells that if you're honest enough with yourself, you can see what you're doing more clearly. Do you write lists for your kids if they're capable of doing it themselves? Do you nag them? Does your child constantly say, I know, I know, I know? That's a pretty common one. Do you feel like your kid avoids you? Do you get really frustrated because they never listen? Is your child, are their actions misaligned with what you're telling them they should do? So you keep telling them harder what to do. When you think about your child, is it frustrating? Do you feel like you are failing your child because they aren't thriving according to your expectations? If you said yes to a few of these, chances are good you're telling your teen what they should do and you need to stop. Hi there. I just want to pause and let you know if you are struggling to make sense of your teen's behaviors, emotions are running wild, and you're looking to turn things around to have the family you dreamed of while rocking them to sleep, I would love to talk to you. I want to give you a special, powerful gift. 30 minutes with me, my friend. You'll walk away with more confidence, clarity, and understanding of what the issue is and your next best step in resolving any situation you bring to me. It's completely free. I love families and want to help yours be wildly happy and successful. Book this call by visiting my website, heatherfraser.com. Remember, Fraser is spelled with a Z-I in the middle. And don't worry, the link is also in the show notes. I look forward to meeting and helping you. And I know that you know that this behavior isn't creating goodness. It's not, your kids aren't cheering for you saying, yes, mom, please tell me more of what to do. And if they are the kid cheering, yes, mom, please tell me what to do. I think that you can also see that that isn't good either, because they need to grow and be an independent person and not be 35 saying, mom, tell me what to do. At least not every day. Maybe, a once in a lifetime crisis. They might say, mom, please tell me what to do. This actually happened to me. I had my firstborn and we had just moved. She was 4 months old and September 11th happened. And I called my mom. She is an amazing mother, but she was very hands off and let me figure out my own stuff growing up. And so it was uncommon for me to call and say, Mom, what should I do? And I remember calling her, and my husband was always at work, and it was just me and this baby in this dark apartment. I never had the windows open because I was nursing, and so I didn't want people looking. Anyway, it was a dark time for me. And I remember I had to go over to my friend's house to watch the news because we didn't even have cable, and seeing the towers fall and just thinking to myself, what have I done bringing a child into this world? What have I done? So I called my mom and I was like, Mom, what have I done? What am I supposed to do? I have this child and our world is awful. Now, for those of you who don't know my mom, she basically is a saint. I've never heard the woman yell. She has 6 kids. And she's like an angel. She literally has already earned her wings and halo. Like, she'll just be twinkled up and like, she really is the best human that I know. And so comforting and so like momming in all the right ways. And I expected her to commiserate with me. And she didn't. She said, Heather, you are my daughter. You are strong. She basically told me to put on my big girl pants and go to work and get over it, which shocked me. Like, I didn't even respond to her because I was so taken back. But it was exactly what I needed to hear. She forced me into the driver's seat of my own parenting experience. And it was exactly what I needed. I needed a reminder that I could do hard things. We want to meet our kids wherever they're at and show them how they are the best driver in their own life. Because whether they are trying to usurp that themselves or they are scared of assuming that role, either way, it is the role that will best serve them. And so how we shift from telling our kids what to do versus allowing them to be the driver in their own life is through asking quality questions and giving supportive statements, not backseat driver statements, but I know you can do this, you've got this type statements. We do not want to rescue our child. So if they haven't studied for a test, we may want to consider if we're going to excuse an absence the next day. That may or may not be the best long-term solution. If they keep forgetting about work and don't get themselves on time, we shouldn't call their boss and try to smooth that over. If they've had a run-in with somebody, like a teacher or a friend, We don't want to jump in the middle of that right off the bat. We also don't want to abandon. I am not telling you to tell your kids, sink or swim, good luck, and walk away. It's not what I'm saying. We need to be supportive, but we need to take a very backseat role as far as allowing our kid to dictate their own life and the direction and the speed and the turns that it may or may not take. One of my favorite ways to do this is when I'm slipping into habits that I know aren't the best. I think to myself, my kid already knows. I guarantee you, your teenager already knows exactly how they should wipe the counter down, or exactly when you want the trash taken out, or exactly how much time their assignment takes, and they still want to go hang out with their friends. They know. You telling them for the 10th time doesn't help. I promise. And to show yourself, when I tell my kid for this, sometimes even the first time, if we really know that they know, maybe it's the 10th time, it doesn't improve your relationship. It doesn't improve the odds that they're going to do that thing. And you can't force it to click in their brain. It's not like you say something for the 100th time and they're like, Mom, you're so right. How did I not see it before? I should do it your way. What was I thinking? My friend, that day is never going to come. We need to teach our kids how to take the driver's seat by asking quality questions and giving supportive statements. Some examples of this could be, what's on your agenda today? Do you need help with any of those things? Can I be of any support? How do you think you should solve that problem that you just explained to me? How do you feel when your friend treats you like that? Instead of saying, your friend's a loser and you should end the relationship, they may or may not like that or do that. Instead, saying, I've noticed when you hang out with this friend, every time you come home, you're really down. What's going on? How can I help you? Do you want to talk about it? Offering them resources beyond yourself are really great quality questions. Would you like to talk to somebody other than me? Like maybe a counselor, a therapist, a coach, an auntie. All good resources. And then supportive statements can sound like, I'm here if you need help. I would love to help you with that. I know that you can do this. Like my mom said, you are my daughter. You can do hard things. I understand that this is hard and I fully believe in you. Those are the types of statements and questions that put your child in the driver's seat of their own life, which consequently, again, is the best way for them to have a full, happy life, is for them to feel like they are in control and they get to say where their life goes. They might get into scrapes. They maybe even total the car. It is all good because this is how we learn. We can more readily access supportive statements and quality questions by doing our own work. And this is what that sounds like for us. So the questions and the supportive statements, those are the things that our kids see. The behind the scenes work that we need to do is let them fail. In other words, let them learn. Don't rescue, don't hover, and again, don't abandon. You need to learn how to regulate your emotions. I promise your kids' choices or lack thereof don't drive your frustration, fear, worry. Your brain does, and your beliefs that something has gone wrong or that something will inevitably go wrong. That is what drives your emotions, and we need to master and regulate that. I do this all the time with my clients. I'm here for you. Lecturing isn't teaching. Don't lecture your kid. It's never helpful. Lead by example. So if you want them to see how to take accountability, show how you take accountability and clean up your side of the street and do your work to emotionally regulate and support them. Realign your expectations to be open how their life will be how they want it, not how you have always dreamed about for them. sure they're lovely dreams. I'm sure they're great. But if it's not what your kid is choosing, it's going to cause a lot of pain. And I invite you to realign your expectations to the life that they want. That is how you can best support them and ask them questions that will help them see what's going on in their situation more clearly so they can help themselves. And then you want to have a few quality rules and consequences that are drama-free. No guilt trips, no nagging, no showing negative emotions because of how they've behaved. That's manipulative. Just, you understand the phone rule. You broke the phone rule. Here's the consequence. I love you. You understand the car rule or the curfew rule. Here's the consequence. I love you. That's like as plain as it should be. Rules and consequences are important. And they are really valuable when they are drama free. And you understand that you have rules and consequences not to control what your child does or does not do. That is probably one of the most painful mistruths about rules and consequences. Rules and consequences exist so that you know you are doing your best as a parent to teach and love your child. It is loving to have rules and consequences. Because parents who don't have rules and consequences, well, that child becomes an adult eventually. And then they learn rules and consequences in much less loving environments, like the collegiate system or the judicial system. Not as loving. And so it's important for our kids to understand that their value isn't on if they broke a rule. They just are valuable regardless and worthy of love. And our choices always come with consequences, whether positive or negative. And to understand how that works. All right, my friend, I want you to think long and hard. If you have a habit of telling your kids what to do, I'm going to ask yourself a couple of really important questions. Why you do this, if you're getting what you want, and what it's actually creating for you, and if you want to keep that, or if you want to try something different. And as always, I would love to talk to you about this. You can schedule a free consult with me at my website, heatherfraser.com. There's also a link in the show notes. Put this into practice. Email me and tell me what you think. And I will talk to you next week.
Heather is the one, an expert in the field. She knows her parenting stuff, including how confusing it can be. You've tried it all, and it's a lost cause. Crying in the closet 'cause you failed at being a mom. But think again, there's peace around the corner, and there's hope in your hands. Your kid just wants your love, and you want it